There are moments in life when everything you believed suddenly fractures. A message appears that you were never meant to see. A doctor closes the door behind you and speaks a word that changes everything. A betrayal surfaces. A marriage cracks. A career collapses. A body fails. In an instant, the ground beneath the life you thought you were living disappears. Most frameworks try to prepare us for moments like these. They offer disciplines, beliefs, practices, and methods meant to guide us through the storm. But when the storm actually arrives, something else happens. The mind races. The body floods with emotion. Fear, anger, humiliation, grief, and confusion surge all at once. The horror feels real because it is real. But there is another possibility hidden inside that same moment. Imagine walking through a dense jungle. You hear branches breaking somewhere in the brush. You cannot see what is moving, but you know something is there. Every nerve in your body tightens. Then suddenly the light shifts just enough, and you see it, a marbled eye staring through the leaves. A tiger. You do not need time to understand what you are seeing. You do not need philosophy. You do not need a technique. The moment you see clearly, everything in you aligns instantly. Seeing does not take time. Seeing is immediate. Life presents us with many such moments. Betrayal, loss, illness, humiliation, failure, experiences that feel like horror unfolding in real time. They are the moments when the deepest questions of the human experience rise to the surface. Why do we suffer? What happens when we die? Who am I when everything I built collapses? Why does injustice exist? Am I truly loved? Unified theistic naturalism calls these burdens the 5 gold coins of the captive. For thousands of years humanity has tried to solve them. Religions, philosophies, sciences, and systems of self-improvement have all offered answers. Yet the coins remain. UTN proposes something radically different. The decisive movement is not time. The decisive movement is seeing. When distortion clears and presence occupies center frame, the storm outside may continue, but the storm inside ends. The wind may still rage, the rain may still fall, the world may still appear chaotic, but the inner velocity stops. This is the speed of presence, and it is from this space that we begin our exploration today. Now let's journey together, walking slowly with hurry and much interest, into the 5 gold coins of the captive, and see what we discover. I'm Patrick Carodine, and this is Unified Theistic Naturalism, and our walk begins now. Preface the moment you see there are moments in life when the ground beneath everything you believed suddenly disappears. A phone lights up with a message you were never meant to read. A doctor closes the door behind you and speaks a word you were not prepared to hear. A friend betrays you. A marriage fractures. A career collapses. A body fails. In an instant, the life you thought you were living splits open. Most frameworks attempt to prepare us for these moments. They offer practices, disciplines, moral instructions, or psychological strategies meant to guide us through the storm. Yet when the storm actually arrives, something else happens. The mind races. The body floods with emotion. Fear, rage, humiliation, grief, and confusion erupt at once. The horror feels real because it is real. But there is another possibility hidden inside that same moment. Imagine walking through a dense jungle. You hear branches snapping somewhere in the brush. You cannot see what is moving, but you know something is there. Every nerve in your body tightens. Then suddenly the light shifts just enough for you to see it. A marbled eye staring through the leaves. A tiger. You do not need time to understand what you are seeing. You do not need philosophy. You do not need a method. The moment you see clearly, everything in you aligns instantly. You move, you shout, you fire your weapon, you survive. Seeing does not require time. Seeing is immediate. The question is not whether the tiger exists. The question is whether you see it before it is too late. Life presents us with many such moments. Betrayal, loss, humiliation, illness, failure. These experiences can feel like horror unfolding in real time. They are the moments when the 5 gold coins of the captive press most heavily in our hands. Suffering, fear of death, identity collapse, injustice, and the desperate longing to be loved. Most frameworks try to fix these moments through effort over time. They tell us to discipline our behavior, change our thinking, or endure the pain long enough for healing to occur. Unified theistic naturalism proposes something radically different. The decisive movement is not time. The decisive movement is seeing. When distortion clears and we see what is actually happening, when oscillation no longer occupies center frame, the storm outside can continue while the storm inside ends. The wind may still rage, the rain may still fall, the world may still appear chaotic, but the inner velocity stops. This is the speed of presence. It is the ability to stand in the middle of what appears to be a horror story and recognize the truth unfolding within it. The event that once looked like destruction becomes revelation. What seemed like tragedy reveals the attachments that bound us. What appeared as loss exposes the structures we mistook for life itself. From that moment forward, the same event that once looked like terror becomes something else entirely. It becomes clarity. The pages that follow examine the 5 gold coins of the captive, the burdens humanity has carried for as long as we can remember. Every religion, philosophy, and system of self-improvement has attempted to resolve them, yet they remain. Unified theistic naturalism does not promise to manage these coins, reinterpret them, or delay them into another life. It claims something far more radical. When oscillation ceases and communion is present, the 5 gold coins dissolve, not gradually, not through years of effort, but in the same way a person recognizes a tiger the moment they see its eye in the brush. The only question that remains is this: do you have the speed of presence to see? The 5 gold coins of the captive, Why Humanity Suffers, and How Communion Dissolves the Coins by Patrick Carodine, Unified Theistic Naturalism, Publications DOI 10.5281 Zenodo.190059116. Abstract. If we are honest, every one of us has felt them. They appear in quiet moments and violent ones, in hospital rooms and funeral homes, in divorce courts and broken friendships, in silent nights when the mind refuses to rest. Questions arise that no philosophy, religion, or scientific system has fully resolved. Why am I suffering? What happens when I die? Who am I supposed to be? Why is the world so unjust? Am I truly loved? These questions are not random. They are the weight humanity carries. Unified theistic naturalism names them the 5 gold coins of the captive. Across history, every framework, religious, philosophical, psychological, and scientific, has attempted to answer them. Each offers explanations, practices, or promises designed to ease their burden. Some provide temporary relief. Some provide meaning. Some provide community. Yet the coins remain. UTN proposes something radical. The 5 gold coins do not need to be managed, improved, balanced, or reinterpreted. They dissolve when oscillation ends and communion is restored. This paper explores the structure of the 5 gold coins, how human frameworks attempt to spend them in the marketplace of robes, and why communion with the divine cadence dissolves them entirely. Part 1. The coins we all carry, none of us remember collecting them. Yet every human life eventually discovers their weight. Sometimes they appear gradually. Sometimes they arrive all at once. A betrayal, a diagnosis, a loss, a moment of humiliation or abandonment. Suddenly the questions rise. Why does this hurt so much? What happens when everything I love disappears? Who am I when the identity I built collapses? Why do injustice and cruelty exist? Why do love and belonging seem so fragile? These questions are universal. They follow every culture, every generation, every belief system. UTN names them clearly. We call them the 5 gold coins of the captive. The first coin, suffering and pain suffering, is the most immediate coin. It appears in physical pain, emotional loss, betrayal, fear, humiliation, and grief. Humanity has built entire systems to explain suffering. Karma, sin, trauma, injustice, fate. Biology. Some systems promise relief through discipline. Others promise redemption in the next life. Others attempt to eliminate suffering through medical or psychological intervention. Yet suffering remains the central question of human experience. The second coin, death, and the fear of non-existence, no coin presses more quietly or more powerfully than the fear of death. Even when hidden beneath belief systems, it remains. Religions promise heaven, resurrection, or reincarnation. Science extends lifespan and seeks biological solutions. Philosophies attempt to make peace with mortality. Yet the question persists, what happens when the body ends? The fear beneath this coin shapes human behavior in ways we rarely acknowledge. The third coin, identity and purpose. From childhood onward, we attempt to answer a simple question: who am I? Identity forms through family, culture, career, belief systems, achievements, and relationships. We build an image of ourselves and defend it carefully. Yet identity is fragile. A lost job, a failed relationship, or a public humiliation can shatter it instantly. When identity collapses, the coin reveals itself again. Who am I without the image? The fourth coin, injustice, evil, and chaos. Human history is filled with violence, cruelty, corruption, and war. Every generation attempts to explain it. Some frameworks blame human sin. Others blame biological instincts. Others point to systems of power and inequality. Yet injustice persists. Even individuals committed to goodness encounter situations where cruelty triumphs and fairness collapses. This coin asks, why does the world feel broken? The fifth coin, love and belonging. Perhaps the most tender coin is the longing for love. Every human life seeks belonging. We search for connection through family, friendship, romance, community, and belief systems. For a time, these relationships bring warmth and relief. Yet love often becomes fragile. Jealousy appears. Misunderstanding grows. Trust breaks. Loneliness returns. And we wonder whether lasting belonging truly exists. Part 2, the marketplace of robes. When these coins grow heavy, we enter the marketplace. Across history, sincere teachers, prophets, philosophers, and scientists have offered robes designed to address the 5 coins. Each robe carries wisdom. Buddhism offers detachment from suffering. Christianity offers salvation through faith. Islam offers submission to divine authority. Stoicism offers discipline of perception. Psychology offers therapeutic understanding. Self-help offers strategies for success and emotional mastery. Each robe promises relief, and often for a time relief appears. But eventually something strange happens. The robe becomes identity, and the coins remain. Suffering still returns. Death still looms. Identity still fractures. Injustice still shocks us. Love still breaks. The robe may polish the coins. It may rename them, but it does not dissolve them. Part 3, oscillation. The hidden mechanism UTN identifies the underlying mechanism that keeps the coins in place. This mechanism is oscillation. Oscillation occurs when the material mind occupies center frame and interprets reality through memory, fear, attachment, and expectation. In oscillation, suffering becomes personal. Death becomes terrifying. Identity becomes defensive. Injustice becomes enraging. Love becomes conditional. Oscillation does not mean the events themselves are unreal. Pain, betrayal, illness, and conflict all occur within material life. But oscillation determines how we experience them. It creates distortion, and distortion keeps the coins in our hands. Part 4, communion and the dissolution of the coins. The marketplace offers robes to manage the coins. UTN reveals something far more unsettling and far more liberating. The coins were never meant to be carried. They dissolve the moment oscillation ends. Communion is the state in which presence rests in the divine cadence rather than the material mind's conditioned patterns. In communion, suffering no longer produces internal distortion. Death is recognized as transformation rather than annihilation. Identity dissolves into presence. Injustice becomes a call for perfect action rather than despair. Love flows as an expression of wholeness rather than a negotiation for security. Nothing external must change for this to occur. The storm may still rage, but the inner velocity stops. This is what UTN calls resonant flow. From this state, perfect action emerges naturally, and the 5 gold coins dissolve, not gradually, not through years of effort, but in the same way darkness disappears when light enters the room. Conclusion: the coins were never the treasure humanity has spent thousands of years trying to spend. The 5 gold coins of the captive. Religions sanctified them. Philosophies analyzed them. Psychology attempted to manage them. Yet the coins remained. Unified theistic naturalism reveals a different possibility. The coins were never meant to be carried. They are distortions that appear when oscillation governs perception. When communion returns, the coins dissolve the same way confusion dissolves the moment we see clearly. Nothing needed to be earned, nothing needed to be fixed, nothing needed to be carried, only something needed to be seen, and the moment we see the captive is free, and now we pause, not because the journey has ended, but because something meaningful has just unfolded between us. Together we walked slowly through the landscape of the 5 gold coins of the captive, those questions every human life eventually faces: suffering, death, identity, injustice, and love. We examine them carefully, not as enemies to fight, and not as burdens to carry forever, but as signals pointing toward something deeper. If you felt something stir within you during this walk, a moment of recognition, a quiet clarity, or even a question that refused to disappear, then let that stay with you. There is nothing you need to force. Just let the resonance remain, because the purpose of this journey is not to rush toward conclusions, but to see clearly what has always been present. And when you are ready to explore again, 3 doorways will open. Step through whichever one calls to you. Doorway 1, the speed of presence. This exploration looks at the moment clarity arrives without effort, the instant when distortion disappears and the mind stops racing. We examine why true seeing does not require time, and how the speed of presence changes everything. Doorway 2, conflict. The beauty in the beast. What if the moments we fear most, conflict, betrayal, confrontation, are not enemies but mirrors? In this walk we explore how conflict reveals hidden attachments, and how one person seeing clearly can dissolve the entire storm. Doorway 3, the majesty of now. What truly occupies the center of your awareness? This journey explores psychological time, the tyranny of memory and anticipation, and the quiet power of the present moment when nothing stands between you and reality. When you are ready, choose the doorway that feels right. I will meet you there. I'm Carodine, and this is Unified Theistic Naturalism.